shut up and lock in for a second. Thank you. I love you, and I know people that watch my videos have superior IQ to the droolers that watch other channels, but I need you to lock in. JJK Episode 3 is not Elite Fisticuffs, but in order to comprehend the elite hands we will see later on this season, you need to know the lore. So that's why I'm here, to condense a 30-minute yap session into an 11-minute banger of cinema so that you know exactly how to properly appreciate the greatness that is the rest of the Culling Games arc. So grab a bev and the eats and walk with me right quick. We start out with the white void that we saw the gang in last, and we peep that Yuki was the only one that Tengen chose not to greet. Not out of malice, but because they already met a while ago. She asked why Tengen closed the Tombs of the Star, which explains why the area was a blank canvas. And Tengen basically says, I didn't know if y'all were locked in with Kenjaku and sliding with the ops, and I refuse to get backdoored. Yuji straight up asked bro why he looked so cooked, and instead of being offended, Tengen told him, lil bro, you'd look chopped too if you lived for 500 years. We realize that because Toji killed the Star Plasma Vessel girl from 12 years ago in front of Gojo, Tengen never got to lock in a new human host contract, which means that bro is aging faster than he was supposed to. But bro isn't just aging though. He's evolving. He straight up says he isn't just a single person anymore. He is now the world. Yuki peeps that we were lied to originally in the hidden inventory arc because they said they had a second vessel on standby. They did not. They finally get down to the real business and ask bro about Kenjaku and how they can open the prison realm. Tengen starts cooking and tells us that he wants to force human evolution across Japan. Megumi thought that he just turned everybody into sorcerers before during the Shibuya arc, but Tengen tells him that that was unrealistic. To sit there and go person by person saying you can be a sorcerer, you can be a sorcerer, and you can be a sorcerer, like Oprah Winfrey doing a giveaway, was incredibly inefficient. So instead, bro wants to blend everybody with Tengen. We peeped that before this would have been impossible because Tengen was a single person. But since the girl got slimed out and Tengen evolved, bro can now assimilate with anybody without any special requirements. They can't wrap their heads around multiple Tengen, so bro busts out the shadow clone jutsu to show them that there was no set number of Tengens in existence. This means that by assimilating with the collective consciousness of Tengen, all normies would become greater than just sorcerers. Imagine waking up one day and all of a sudden you have almost boundless power. Sounds tough, right? But then imagine one random starts tripping out and loses control. Well then, like a virus from a PC on a shared network, everybody gets affected. Almost instantly, in fact, which would lead to the end of the world. The only thing Tengen doesn't know is why bro could possibly want that. Yuki questions why Tengen can't just say no. But Tengen, once again, has evolved to be different than just human, which means he's closer to a cursed spirit now, which means that if Kenjaku can just get Tengen alone with nobody else around, he's moving like pre-rebrand Speed talking about some
who gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me?
Bro can be hit with peak gaslighting and mass manipulation using cursed spirit manipulation. And since Kenjaku is in Gojo's body, if you remember from before, cursed spirit manipulation is literally Gojo's bag. This is why Tengen wanted some of them to guard him, because he would be cooked if Kenjaku pulled up. Bro even threw a little bit of glaze Kenjaku's way to explain the severity of the situation, saying Kenjaku is second only to me with his barrier techniques. And if a dude is said to be second to essentially a deity of your society, and that same deity tells you this, he's a serious problem. Yuki asks why now after 1,000 years was this happening, and here's where things kinda get icky. Bro basically says, me, the Six Eyes, and the Plasma Star Vessel, yeah, we're all connected by fate. I thought he was about to leave it there, but thank goodness he locked in with the sauce. He said that Kenjaku is on attempt number 3, and that scares me because you know how they say third time's the charm. Bro said first time Kenjaku got squad wiped. Okay, cool. Second time he locked in and killed the Star Plasma Vessel and the Six Eyes user before they turned 1 month old as babies. Bro was spawn camping. But despite this, both the next Six Eyes user and Star Plasma Vessel appeared when Tengen needed the assimilation most. So Kenjaku was a smart guy. Obviously, if killing babies wouldn't stop it, he had to try something else. So he decided to seal the Six Eyes user instead of sliming him out. That way he wouldn't reincarnate because he is still alive. So that made him hunt down the prison realm. And this is where things get wicked because Toji gets involved. Toji took the bounty and cooked the Star Plasma Vessel and broke the connection of the cycle to Tengen. and Gojo existed, which would let him use curse manipulation if he could get hands on his body. Then they ask what the hell that has to do with the Culling Games, and Tengen says, basically, it's a practice match. If Kenjaku tests his luck now, then something might go wrong. So he dropped a beta version like it's SAO just to make sure things run smooth. One issue is that Kenjaku can't serve as a game master himself, and the game master has to approve of all added rules except anything that would hurt the continuation of the Culling Games. This isn't a good thing though, because that means they can't just kill Kenjaku and end the game. Kinda like how the rebels blew up the first Death Star and the Empire kept cooking them afterwards regardless. Either everybody has to die, or everybody has to quit and not play at all and still die. That means that in order to solve the problem, they have to participate, but while participating, they must add a rule that doesn't hinder the game and allows people like Megumi's sister a way out. But they also have to find a way to free Gojo too. And Megumi gave him insta-glaze right there, saying that man could solve everything on his own. They decide to have Choso and Yuki stay behind to protect Tengen, and then Tengen thanked them before reaching into the nether and pulling out the back of the prison realm so they could get Gojo out. Tengen tells them that he locked away the back door, but they couldn't just pull Gojo out all the same. They either need Kenjaku to say okay, which we know he won't do, or they could just use the inverted spear of heaven to bust him out because it cancels curse techniques. Or they could use the black rope that can disrupt and cancel out the effects of curse techniques as well. Bro gave them bad news though and said Gojo either sealed the spear overseas or broke it. And I would too, because that mess would nullify his infinity. The black rope was also completely wasted against Gojo before as well. We realized that Yuta went with Miguel to Africa in order to find more of the black rope, but with no luck. But there was one more way. They get the sorcerer from 1,000 years ago that's in the Culling Games, known as Angel, to use her technique to cancel it out. There are 10 colony locations, and every Culling Games player has to choose from one of them in order to participate in the game, and you have to sign up within 19 days of it starting. This gives them 10.5 days to obtain 100 points in the game and add a rule allowing people to escape, which would therefore save Megumi's sister Sumiki from participation. It is believed that people will die if they ignore the first rule because they will be stripped of their curse techniques, and the removal of such a thing is unheard of. The wording is very important because they don't just say prohibited from using, which means there isn't a pact that gets placed on non-participants. This means that whatever happens directly to their brain instead, for all intents and purposes, basically meaning you're cooked. This, however, means that people like Maki are exempt. Rule 3 is a doozy because it says that all players instantly become players if they enter a colony, and them even walking through would be seen as them agreeing to lock in for the game. This means that normal people can leave the zones if they started out within them at the start of the game. But if they return to or enter into any new colonies, it's basically GG's for them. It basically gives the loose appearance of free will, which strengthens the barriers. Rule 4 tells us that people receive points by killing other players. Pretty cut and dry. Rule 5 tells us that the points are awarded based on the stipulations that the game master decides, meaning sorcerers are worth 5 and civilians are worth 1. So, for our heroes to lock in, they either need 100 points from killing 20 sorcerers, killing 100 normies, or a combination of the two. Who is the game master, you might ask? Tengen explains it is as if the Culling Game itself is the game master. Rule 6 is the big one because it states that people can spend 100 points to negotiate with the game master to add an additional rule to the game. They, however, cannot remove a rule. Rule 7 is the same as previously explained, saying that the game master must add additional rules requested as long as they don't significantly hinder the game. The only good thing here is that it won't favor Kenjaku's plot and instead will be decided to be valid or invalid based on the simple requirements of previously stated rules. Rule 8 states that they must at least get a single kill after starting in the game in the next 19 days, or else they will also be stripped of their technique. Yuji fears having to kill again, but Megumi calms his nerves by telling him that he might have cooked up a method to work around it. From there, they decided to cook up a plan. Choso and Yuki already agreed to guard Tengen. Maki needs to return to the Zenin residence to collect cursed tools, then get Kuzo Kumiya's atelier, and then she will locate and retrieve Panda. But she can only do this because Megumi has been declared the new head of the Zenin clan, so she has clearance to go through the vault. However, they need her to do so, which is obviously news to Yuji. Yuta elects to immediately enter the Culling Games to do recon ahead of Megumi and his sister being required to participate. He originally planned to go alone to a faraway colony, but he remembered that he might be needed to deal with Yuji in order to keep Megumi safe from the potential return of Sukuna. Megumi doesn't mind the risk and knocks some sense into Yuji about going with him as a duo instead. Maki gives them the task of finding my gambling and femboy-loving goat, Kenji Hakari. Bro is a suspended third year, but they need all the help they can get, so they have to do whatever they can to get the job done and convince him to join in. With that being said, they all head out, and Yuji gives Choso praise before leaving to get to business. And we get a sneak peek at the future with a random appearance from the failing comedian Fumihiko Takaba, who was getting chewed out after another unfunny performance. His co-worker dropped some W logic on him though when he was feeling down, saying that only two types of people stay big in the comedy industry. The first are those that are actually hilarious, and the second are those that can delude themselves into thinking they are hilarious. And we see Takaba start reasoning with himself, and we find out he was an awakened Culling Game player. And all I can say is, you're gonna want to lock in for what's next. And since you made it this far, subscribe and like the video, because I'm coming in hot weekly with the updates. And like I always say, AYC, what you got for me?
Your theme is peace.